So, of course, you guys know another Saturday, another Georgia football recap. In this game, it was a domination, but I do have some complaints. Now, of course, before I get really into it, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. You guys help me out a little bit. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. Now, of course, getting into the positive first, Georgia went against Samford today. They beat them 33-0. Now, of course, going to Stetson Bennett, they pretty much picked up where he was last week, 24-34 for 300 yards, 2 total touchdowns. 1 was passing, 1 was rushing. I mean, from Stetson Bennett, you pretty much got another great game. He's having a great season so far. Would not be surprised if that continued next week against South Carolina. Now, going into our receivers, once again, Kenny McIntosh once again was a leader in receptions and yards with 5 receptions for 61 yards. Brock Bowers also had a better outing today with 3 receptions for 57 yards. Now, here's an injury note. A.D. Mitchell, who's pretty much the star wide receiver on our outside as of right now, he went down with an ankle injury early in the game. Like, literally the first offensive play in the game, they threw him a screen, went down, came up gimpy, and never came back into the game. Now, of course, here's the good news. The good news is that it doesn't look too serious. Maybe a sprained ankle, twisted ankle, something like that. A.D. Mitchell is not expected to miss any significant time. Now, maybe next week, maybe a week after, but he's not going to miss an extended period of time, at least from the information I know right now. Now, of course, going to the UGA rushing game, 127 total rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. Most of those yards came from Kendall Milton, who had 10 carries for 85 yards. Pretty solid game for the Georgia rushing game, but considering we were going against an FCS team, this was a little bit disappointing. I was definitely looking for a little bit more, especially from a team like Georgia, who's known for dominating through the rushing game. Now, of course, going to the Georgia defense, I don't have too many notes on them. I mean, they allowed 0 points, forced a turnover, which was a fumble recovery early in the game. Not too much to say. They did drop some interceptions. I do feel like we could have easily had 3 to 4 turnovers that game. But really, the defense kept up exactly where they were last week. I mean, they finished right where they left off. They did really, really well. The defense looked really good for Georgia, and I was honestly not surprised. I mean, yeah, it's Samford. You expected the defense to be good. It was a shutout. Now, of course, a recap, despite the 33-0 win, this was a completely bad game from UGA. This game was straight up boring to watch. Georgia's offense looked completely flat. They dropped 2 passes in the end zone that should have been touchdowns. They settled for field goals inside of the red zone on their first 2 drives, and they only scored 3 total points in the second half. This was a very flat and ugly game for Georgia's offense. It was a really, really bad game. Of course, we were going against Samford, so we still dominated. We still won. But 33-0, from Georgia, you look for 62-0. You look for 70 points. 33 points was a little bit on the disappointing side. I feel like Georgia could have won bigger and could have played a better game, especially what Kirby Smart said at the end of the game. He said they weren't focused, they looked flat, and that's what I got out of this game. Georgia was not focused. They were not on the top of their game. They were flat. They looked way hungrier, better, flying to the ball last week. This week, I just didn't get that, so I think Georgia has a lot more work to do in practice as of right now. Now, of course, still a great win. Georgia plays South Carolina next week. Hopefully they get their focus back. South Carolina, despite not being ranked as of the recording of this video, they're actually a very, very solid team. South Carolina, they have, Spencer Rattler. They have a decent offense, always have a good defense, always have like 1 or 2 linemen, a good cornerback. So I'm really excited for that game. I know a couple of people going to that South Carolina game, so I'm really, really excited to see what UGA can do against South Carolina next week. Need to get their focus back. It was a very flat game, but I think they're going to do it. Now, of course, this was a very short recap. Nothing crazy, nothing special. I mean, I like to go into the detail in the big games. Against Samford, you're kind of like, Georgia's expected to beat them. So, really, really, all credit to Samford, though. They played a better game than Oregon, to be honest with you. Oregon last week played us way worse than Samford ever did. However, no disrespect to any of the programs. All respect to both of the programs. Georgia improves to 2-0. Hopefully, we can get another win and get back on this revenge tour, go back-to-back like my Braves are going to go back-to-back this year. Now, of course, that's going to be the end of this video. I wish you nothing but the best. Stay loved, stay blessed. Without further ado, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching.